God is worshipped by everybody in one form or another. Brother Jabril, who was here last Sunday and also again yesterday, points out quite graphically that there are folks who think they're atheists and don't know they believe in some God. Whatever you put your trust in, whatever you're willing to entrust your life to, that's your God. And tell me you don't believe in no God. You believe in something. You believe that there is something that's got more power than you that can save your tail out of a crack when it gets in one. You believe that. That's right. In fact, I remember back when I was a youngster during World War II and the soldiers came back laughing about all them atheists that when they got in trouble over there in the foxholes and the bullets, you know, they start hollering, "Oh Lord." You know? Now, what is this religion to do about the fact that God is worshipped in so many forms and so many different ideas and conceptions of God? It crystallizes our conception of God into one. He is above all tribal deities and national gods. The Holy Quran talks of him as the Lord of all the worlds. Okay? You got people who worship a God who only cares about them, supposedly. See, their God only is with their nation or with their race or with their, whatever it is, their little sect, their club or whatever. You got folks who believe that. So, God, as I say, doesn't make a man who argues. He said, okay, fine. All I want to tell you is, if you got all them little gods that do all that stuff, the God that I'm talking about is the one that can whip them all put together. He can pull them in line, he can command, because he is the one God with the one power. Now, if you worship anything other than him, they got to submit to him. Okay, now we're on a plane where we can talk. And it is this that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has implanted on Minister Farrakhan so indelibly that is causing a lot of confusion among those who have weak understanding. Let me quote the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He said, in widening our conception of the divine being, we enlarge the circle of brotherhood of man to include all nations of earth and so widen the outlook of human love and sympathy. That's a direct quote. From what? From the lessons that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave to his ministers. Okay? Now, when you find that there are Muslims who've been in a nation for years and years and years and who are unfamiliar with that quote, it is because the minister that was responsible for them knowing that never taught it because he didn't understand it. It conflicted with his concept of what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was teaching. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was telling us in that lesson, says, look, I'm giving you a narrow concept of God because I'm giving you a concept that's needed for one group of people. But as you grow, you have to broaden your concept of God so you can broaden the message to go to the world.
That's right. That's right.
This is why in the Holy Quran, it speaks of a messenger being raised up in the 21st chapter, 107th verse, as a mercy to the nations. Not to one nation. And it wasn't Muhammad. Muhammad was there for Arabia.
That's right. That's right. Break it down. Yes, sir.
Look how the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wrote a book called Message to the Black Man of America. Because that's the message that he came to bring. But he was producing one who would take that same message and show that it's applicable to every human being who's willing to accept it. There are those who knew that, wise and crooked deceivers, who knew that and tried to exploit that portion of the messenger's teaching that he didn't give to everybody to try to make us love white folks. They tried to take that and interpret that to make us think that, well, what we're supposed to do is forgive all the hurt of 400 years and then put our arms around our slave masters. That's crazy.
That's right.
That ain't what he means. Not by a long shot. Let me give you another direct quote from the minister's lessons sent to the ministers by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The Holy Quran was not meant for one people or one age. And accordingly, the scope of its moral teachings is as wide as humanity itself. See that? And many of us been in the nation 100 years. Well, I won't say 100 years. Not familiar with that, are we? We're not even familiar with that concept. Yet that's what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was teaching the men he had sitting around his table, sucking up heat and eating up his food that he had there, supposed to be helping him. And the reason that you got a warped view of it is because his ministers gave you a warped view of it. They got you hung up in one facet, all of which was true. But they got you hung up in one facet and you couldn't see the rest of it. That's why the nation fell so easily. That's why we were so vulnerable. Because we are trying to take one little, just like taking a book, you read one page and you're an expert. Here's all the rest of the pages you don't even see, yet you're an expert in that field. That's crazy. And this is what we were. We knew that the white man was the devil. And when you got past that, you could hang us every time.
That's right.
That's right. Anything else you came up with, we were lost, get mad, and fight. Well, a lot of us used to get in jail. Right here on the streets of New York. A lot of us busted, jamming somebody upside the head because they got us into something we couldn't explain. Because we didn't understand our own religion. Out here trying to bring folks into something we don't even understand. Praise be to Allah. One last quote from that particular minister's lesson on the fundamental principles of Islam. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, think over your own nature, how your very colors and tongues differ from each other. Yet in spite of all these differences, are you not but a single people? All right. You got the picture? Well, why didn't Muhammad come and start teaching the whole world? No. We, the black people of America, are the future rulers of the world. You understand that? Now, we had to get the message first in order to begin to qualify ourselves to rule. Can't give everybody the stuff at the same time. No, give it to us and let the seed grow in us. And then as it grows in us from 35 to 50 years, we can grow up from Muslim sons to adult, mature Muslims. You say, you mean that stuff that you just got through quoting, reading, was from the same Honorable Elijah Muhammad? Taught white folks was the devil, taught us all about slavery, taught us all about lynching, all that, and wouldn't let white folks even hear the teaching, didn't want it? So that's right. Same man. Well, did he change? Did he switch? No, he never changed. It was time. And this is the same Farrakhan that used to preach it just as hard as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad against white folks and all that. Same Farrakhan. And he's the same one that stood up there and that you heard on the radio today, those of you who listen. He's standing up there in front of a whole bunch of white students, a handful of black, teaching white folks. Is this the same Farrakhan? Same one. Well, is he deviating from the teachings? Not a bit. Can we prove it? Oh, yes. Tell you what you do. You take one disciple or apostle of Jesus, Matthew. Just one. Now you read Matthew, the 10th chapter, the 5th and 6th verse. Then you read Matthew, the 28th chapter, and the 19th verse. Now, in the 10th chapter, Jesus is talking, he's just got his disciples together, and he's training them for their mission. And Jesus tells them, look, don't go to the Gentiles, don't go to the Samaritans, you don't go to nobody but the lost sheep of the house of Israel. I don't want you teaching nobody else. I want you to teach them. Now, in the 28th chapter, what has happened is Jesus has been captured. His enemies had a plot to kill him. Jesus appeared as if they had won, but Jesus beat death.
That's right.
And you find in the 28th chapter that Jesus is telling Matthew's telling the folks, hey, he's telling the rest of the disciples. Let me tell you what Jesus said. He said, Jesus said, go and teach to all the nations. Same Jesus, from the same God, but look at the message. Can you see that?
Yes,
Before Calvary, the teaching was for one people. After Calvary, the teaching was for the world. the man is on time. You hear me talking to you? As a disciple of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he taught only to black folks and only that which the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was teaching at that time. But as the number one apostle of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad today, he is teaching the message to the world as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had instructed him to do previously. Okay. All right.